All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am here with Brian. This is John. And if you could hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. How you doing today, Brian?
Hey, I'm doing good. Got a nice sunshiny Monday morning.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is beautiful. I'm beautiful. All right. Let's talk about the world of baseball. And should we send out a 911 for the Dodgers? Seems like they hosted a series against the rival Angels and got swept. Get the brooms out. What did you think of that?
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, amen there.
I thought it was even more fantastic that the great hero, the greatest player of all time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
struck out to end the series.
It was nice. It was nice. It
And I'm
is.
not a hater on the guy. I just think it's a little ridiculous to be calling him an all-time great at this point. That's all.
Well,
That's all.
that's what everybody wants to do. They want to label
I
everything
know.
right now, right? I mean, that's how it all works. Wait
I
till they
understand.
start comparing Devers to Ted Williams, okay? Just wait. It's
That'll
coming in.
never happen.
Yeah. Never's a long time, right?
I do have a little bit of an issue with the MLB trying to promote this past weekend as, it was declared rivalry weekend
Right. Right.
across the entire sport.
Yeah.
And were any of these games actually between rivals? I mean,
No.
really, they paired up the teams that are geographically close together,
Yeah.
but they're not in the same leagues, they're not in the same divisions. None of them are actually competing with each other. They
I
all
would.
have their own large fan bases within, Chicago Cubs, Chicago White Sox. They both have their separate fan bases. They're not really competing for Chicago, just like the Dodgers and Angels. The Dodgers have a tremendous amount of LA supporters, but the Angels have theirs too. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing you hear in New York. You're either a Yankees fan or a Mets fan.
Well,
It's a,
I think there was actually two rivalry games, series. You have the Mets and the Yankees. Obviously, I think that rivalry has intensified because they took Soto, right? That was a big thing going on there. And then you had the other big rivalry game of Baltimore against the Nationals to see who sucks the worst. And that is obviously in the DC area, and Baltimore is really pulling ahead in that race. I really can't wait to
well,
see them play Colorado. That should be a real race to the bottom.
and add the Orioles to another team that fired their manager this year.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, they fired Brandon Hyde because he's the reason that the team is playing so terribly, as they just literally have an anchor around their ankle as they go to the bottom of the ocean. Uh,
Yep.
you know, they are 15 and 30, and I just don't know. I mean, do you start selling at this point for at the trade deadline? What do you think?
Like we said, I think we talked about them a couple of podcasts back. It's like they got to decide: are they gonna commit to these young players that they brought up over the last few years and lock them up long term, and then go get some pitching, or are they just going to try to ride it out and let it go wherever it goes, and then they won't sell them until they're maybe their last year of free eligibility prior to, you know what I mean, prior to their free agency. They'll hang on to them and say, we're
That
try to sell that to the fan base.
Yeah, right. Like those
Because
fans don't have ESPN.
because
Yeah,
because right now, the team sucks, and if they go and they sell, you know, Adley Rutschman or Jackson Holiday and trade them off for some prospects, that's just going to kill any
I
momentum they've built up over the last couple of years.
okay. I agree, but at the end of the day, they have to make an actual decision on where is the franchise. Is this the aberration, or was last year the aberration? I don't know, right? I mean, losing Corbin Burns didn't help, but I got to tell you, when you got one more win than the Chicago White Sox at this juncture, you got a problem. You got a serious goddamn problem, man. You really you have to really reevaluate where the franchise is. Did you get a little lucky? Is Ashley Rushman not as good as we thought? Is there a reason they played him at DH against Texas in the playoffs last year? I don't know.
Maybe he's peaked. Maybe he's
Maybe
peaked.
peaked. Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's talk about our favorite team to talk about, the Red Sox.
Oh,
They lost the series against the Braves. And Devers, though, he seems to really be settling into the DH role that Big Poppy made so popular. Had a walk-off home run on Saturday because the Red Sox have to make everything like a Mission Impossible game. They either get blown out or somehow they sneak around and then they pull it off in the last half of the game, right? What did you think of the Red Sox this weekend?
dude, I am so frustrated and not happy as a Red Sox fan. Because
You
forget
can
the
say
okay.
pissed. You can say pissed. This is off the rails.
I want to try not to let them have that much influence on my mood and attitude.
Brian, they control your life. Continue, please.
Because let's not forget the three-game sweep beatdown they took in Detroit right before this weekend, right?
Correct.
I mean, that was just brutal. So then they come home, oh, and they debut these new great City Connect Green Monster frickin' uniforms,
Mm-hmm.
which I hate all of the City Connect uniforms. I think they're stupid. These ones, though, for the Red Sox were better than those
The
disgusting yellow banana
yeah,
ones.
the yellow ones suck. Yeah.
But they break this out, and I want to say I'm actually pleased with the Red Sox because we've been waiting for the Braves to get over 500, and they finally helped the Braves do it.
Yeah, it was nice of them. That was nice. They probably get an extra little bonus from the slush fund that is MLB playoff baseball. I will say this, that if you have a loved one and they are wearing the City Connect uniform or jersey from the Red Sox, the yellow thing, you immediately know they're part of the LGBTQ community. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, that's all we got going on there. The Red Sox are 4-6 in the last 10. The Yankees are 7-3. We're the only team that's, I guess, really within them. I don't know. We're right there with the Blue Jays. Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but when
know.
you're under 500, you're not competing for anything. Period.
Okay.
End of story.
Well, I think they have 35 slots for the 30 teams in MLB baseball. So I'm just saying that, Brian. I didn't know if you were aware of that this year. Uh, let's talk about Philadelphia's reliever, Jose Alvarado, who I have never effing heard of. He gets 80 games for PEDs. How prevalent do you think PEDs are still in baseball?
I don't think they're real prevalent anymore because they are testing, and we hear of guys getting popped from time to time. So I think the players are being a lot more cautious about what they're taking. Now, every time they get popped, of course, they didn't know, and there's some lame excuse like this guy was taking weight loss drugs.
Bullshit.
Hello, you're a professional athlete. You shouldn't need to be taking weight loss drugs.
You know, and I have a real interesting take on this, and maybe I'm off a little. And if somebody's off, if I'm off, you want to call it, you write me a comment. How come it seems like the players from Central America, the Caribbean, are the ones who get popped for PEDs? We had Fernando Tatis a couple years ago. We had that guy Mejia. We had this Alvarado. Of course, as I obviously am stereotyping him, which is not cool. You were going to find out he's from Los Angeles, right? I didn't do a deep dive, but I mean, God, it does seem like all the PED guys have a Hispanic flavor to them, right? When's the last time you've seen a white guy get popped? I'm just saying.
Uh, there have been a few, but I don't recall because they're
Yeah,
not a
his
lot
name
of
is
guys getting
Roger
popped
Clemens.
anymore.
His name is
No, he
Roger
never got
Clemens.
popped. He never
Yeah, I
got
know.
popped.
Roger Clemens. Thanks.
Neither did Mark McGuire.
Yeah. He just had the can right there in his locker room. He was too stupid to even figure that out. All right. The Twins just ended a 13-game winning streak. They had 3 games at the end where they pitched shutouts. I got a question for you, my friend. Are we going to see a team this year with a bigger winning streak than the Twins at 13 games?
Ooh, that's pretty good. Uh, I'd say potentially, but 13 is a pretty solid number.
Yeah, it is.
Uh, I think we usually, at some point every season, some team will get up close to around 15 or so. Isn't that sound
Yeah,
about right?
it's somewhere from 13 to 16. That's
Yeah.
usually the
So,
longest. Yeah.
I mean, if it depends on how your schedule lays out,
Yeah.
uh, you got back to backs, with Miami and Colorado. You got a good shot at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Throw
Exactly.
the White Sox in there.
I on the nightly sportscast, obviously I'm looking at all the teams. Chicago is not that far off. I mean, look, I know they suck. I'm not going to argue that, but I'm looking at the scores. They're losing 4-3, 5-3. The Orioles and the Colorado Rockies, they're getting their ass handed to them every game. It's 5-0, 7-2, 6-1. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
21 to nothing.
Yeah, 21-0, right? Sam Hill. I don't know where the White Sox go. Let us delve into very quickly the Rockies. Think about this. They are 8-38. They are not even on a track to get 32 wins. They're not. Try and get your head around that. When we thought the White Sox at 41 were literally the bottom of the barrel, Colorado says, no, man, we're going to show you what crap is. We are going to show
That's
you how terrible we can be.
that's the ultimate hold my beer.
That is. That's hold my beer. And this other canister of yellow liquid isn't beer, and hold that too. I mean, my God. Right? Okay.
Pretty
I
bad.
want to I want to ask you a question. I am still one of those dinosaurs who watches cable TV. I got the Angels. I'm a Southern California guy. They're on my little feed. And you watch a panorama of different telecasts, different games, and that is why you're the king. But my question is, I watched the Angel game, and it is 3 hours of watching Gubazaw and Wayne Randazani, or whatever that cat's name is, complain about the strikes call every goddamn pitch for the Angels. They got this little box, and then the little dot is literally 1 millionth of an inch outside, and they go, oh, I can't believe it. What is this I'm doing? And I literally hear that for 3 years. Can we just look? Can we just talk about the game? I even heard it this weekend with the Dodgers. I go, man, and they go, wow, I can't believe we didn't get that pitch. Wow, they got. Is that prevalent in broadcast in baseball that you've noticed?
Uh, no, not a lot. I'll see guys comment on them. Oh, that
Sure.
when there's one or two here and there. But no, not really. I watch now because I stream the MLB through their app. I get to watch everything except the two local teams, so I never get
Lucky
to see
you.
Angels or Dodgers play.
Lucky you.
But for instance, this weekend I tuned into the Red Sox broadcast. I watched a little bit of the Phillies and Pirates, Padres and Mariners. I think I even had the Astros and Rangers going this
Right.
weekend on Friday night, and
Okay.
it's good. I like to get the different broadcasts, the different teams. I can tune into whichever broadcast I want. Like when I'm watching the Astros and Rangers, I can tune into either the Astros or the Rangers. So I like to mix it up and get a lot of different tastes. Uh, Giants and Athletics I watched this weekend. That was a good one.
Who's your
John Miller.
favorite? Who's your favorite broadcast team? Do you have one?
I
I
don't
know
really
there's a lot.
have one, but I'll tell
Okay.
you the voice I loved, and he does the Blue Jays now, but not full time, is Dan Schulman. I
Oh, Dan
loved Dan
Shulman.
Shulman when he
Yeah,
was doing Sunday Night Baseball.
yeah,
I thought he was great. And so every once in a while, if I'm going to watch the Blue Jays, I'll tune into their broadcast to listen to him. He's
sure.
really good.
Yeah, I like John Miller with San Francisco. I like Dan Shulman. Talented guys. I will say this though. The best is Joe Davis. I do not understand how the Dodgers went from Vin Scully to this guy. This guy is smooth as smooth. He's like me on the dance floor, Brian. Smooth. That's all I got to say. Yeah, I know. You just heard it
All
here.
right.
But I will
Yeah,
say this: do not come near me when I'm wearing my Boston City Connect outfit, okay? Because
I
it's
will
really,
not.
yeah, I know. I know.
You just,
LBGTQ represent, right?
yeah.
God dang. All right. So you got any more
Closet door
thoughts?
just got open.
So you got any more thoughts on the world of baseball?
Uh, uh, yeah. How's that looking for the Oakland Athletics or the Athletics this year?
I mean,
They
what do
just
we?
got they. I don't know. I'm perplexed because they'll like have this good little streak and they kind of creep up in there and then they get swept by the Giants. Kind of perplexing to me.
Well,
I keep hoping they're going to be one of these athletics teams, that come out of
yeah.
nowhere and sneak into the playoffs.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll get good so they can sell off everybody at the trade deadline, right? I
That's the
mean,
hope, right?
right, that's the hope. Them and the Marlins. That's the business plan. Let's get a couple really really good talented guys so we can sell them for peanuts. Yeah, that's great. You know,
How do
I
you
go ahead.
how are you feeling about your National League West though? Because the Dodgers seem to be pulling away slightly, yet this weekend they get swept and the Giants sweep the A's and now it's back to the Dodgers just have one game on the Giants and the Padres again.
Correct. Yeah.
So where's this thing going to end up?
I got to be honest. I think I bought into the hype a little too much. They are having an exceedingly high amount of injuries with the pitching staff. Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell. I mean, I don't know what their long term prognosis is, but that is a competitive race. And you did call. I literally called 911 on you when I think you said you were going to pick Arizona to win that division.
Yeah,
I
that
think
looks
you were a
wrong.
lot closer. I think you were a lot closer to where I was. That's for damn sure. Because you're right.
Well,
That's a four-team race.
there's the Dodgers they have 18 starting pitchers and a lot of them are hurt, but they did just get Clayton Kershaw back and he was able to get his butt kicked in 4 innings.
That was nice.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Well, the
he's
Angels
out
are pretty
there.
formidable. They got a team batting average of like 230. So yeah, they're pretty monstrous. They remind me of the 27 Yankees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and how come all their guys go on the 10-day IL, but they've been gone for like over a month?
I don't know. That's just shenanigans.
How does that all work?
It seems like every time they put out a new starting pitcher, the trainer visits the mound 3 or 4 times during the game. I don't know if they're just
Yeah,
paranoid or there's something going on, right? God, what
yeah.
chance does Colorado have? We're literally 46 games into the season. They're 20 and a half games back, right? And they're looking up and going, we really haven't played the meat of our schedule, the Dodgers, Padres, Giants, and D-backs. Like, at some point, should we institute the Little League mercy rule? Because this is just really going sideways really fast. Yeah,
Maybe, maybe.
yeah,
Hey,
right?
here's something else that came to my mind over the weekend,
Okay,
and throw this out there at you. As I was, for some reason, I started thinking about that whole Pete Rose and Joe Jackson and all those Black Sox guys getting their bans lifted,
correct.
and the way that the MLB is changing, going back and changing some rules. And then last year, if you recall, this was way before the podcast, so we probably never even talked about it. They allowed all of the records from the Negro leagues to be counted as MLB records. and statistics.
Correct.
Do you remember that?
I do.
So the thing that came to my mind was back in 2020, the pandemic season, and they played the 60 game schedule and they did a ton of those 7 inning doubleheaders. Do you remember those?
Sure do.
Madison Bumgarner threw a perfect game in one of those 7 inning doubleheaders. And
Okay.
he did not get credit in the record books for a perfect game because it was
Hmm.
only 7 innings.
That's interesting.
Now,
Hmm.
if they're going to do all these other things and let records stand in the statistical history of the sport that were not even in the league, the Negro Leagues guys,
Right.
why can they not go back and give Bumgarner credit for a perfect game?
That's well, I'm gonna say that this, and I really don't know what their thinking is, because obviously Rob Manfred on 98% of his decisions has his head wedged so far up his own butt that he cannot see the piece of paper to sign it. That's why they got auto signers, Brian.
Okay,
Is that because it is truly the rarest of diamonds in the major league system. There's been, I think, 26 perfect games ever. That's
right.
why. That's why. I don't know. I'm not defending it. I'm just trying to understand why they would do something that crazy.
But the game was scheduled for 7 innings,
I
and he threw
understand.
every inning, and it
And the
was
records
perfect.
from that year count.
Yeah, all the
You're
other
right.
stats count.
Yeah, all the other stats count. So yeah, I don't know.
Just ask the Dodgers.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I look,
That was just another thought I had over the
I
weekend.
like the thought. I like where you come from. And look, I'm a huge Madison Bumgarner fan. I think in my lifetime, he and Oral Hershiser are the two guys I really remember who literally took a below average team and led them to a World Series. Right? I mean, he
Yeah,
did everything. And that year that they beat Kansas City to win the title, he went into Cincinnati in the one game. They had one game playoffs then, and he
yep,
shut them down and he just mowed down everybody. And the only other thing I can remember it was, even though we didn't get there, is I want to say, and I know you're going to tell me the real year. I think it was 95 or 97 when Pedro was pitching against Cleveland. And just seeing him warm up on the sidelines, you literally could see a chill in Cleveland. It was like, oh no, no, this guy might come in for 2 innings. Oh God, we're in trouble.
yeah. And then six no hit innings later,
Yeah, I
the Red
know, right?
the Red Sox are advancing.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, that was pre 2004, so we all know how that story ends. I still have trauma from '86. Let's get that straight.
All right.
2003 was a walk in the park for a Red Sox fan. That was nothing. Even though I at that point I no longer had sharp knives in my cutlery drawer. I just had plastic spoons because that's what you do after 1986. Jesus Christ. All right. That's it for Off the Rails. Welcome one, welcome all. Leave your like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave some comments. And we'll see you soon on Off the Rails. There you go.